Pandukabaya was a king of Upatissa Nawara and the first monarch of the Anuradhapura kingdom and sixth over all of the island of Sri Lanka since the arrival of the Vijaya. He reigned from 437 BC to 367 BC. According to many historians and philosophers, he is the first truly Sri Lankan king since the Vijayan migration, and also the king who ended the conflict between the Sinha clan and the local clans, reorganizing the population. He was the only child of Princess Unmadakathra, daughter of King Panduvastu and Queen Badhikakana, and Prince Digagamini, son of Prince Digayu and Princess Disala. Panjala was his teacher and Panjala's son Chandra was his advisor. Origin. There are two prevailing opinions on his origin. In the Mahavansa, his mother is Umadhini Chitra and father is Prince Digagamini who is a relation of the princess. In the Dipavansa, Pandukabaya is mentioned as Pakandaka Kora meaning thief and has no affiliations to the Vijayan clan. The name Daya appears in many ancient Sinhala rock inscriptions. Although Daya is found in West Bengal and Orissa regions, none of these predate the Sinhala inscriptions and the word Daya doesn't appear in any ancient inscriptions from these regions, so it is clear that Daya has its origins in Sri Lanka. The exchange of people. Chitra and Digagamini had been made aware of the prophecy at the time of their marriage and had promised to put to death any son that Chitra gave birth to. However, once Pandukabaya was born, Chitra was unwilling to kill the infant, and so she decided to exchange babies with another woman who had given birth to a baby girl that same day. Chitra announced to her father and husband that she had given birth to a girl. Only her mother, Badakachayana, knew of the secret exchange. The woman who gave up her daughter took Prince Pandukabaya to a nearby village called Doromadalawa where he would be brought up as a herdsman's son. Assassination attempts. The first threat to Pandukabaya's life came while he was being transported to Dvaramandalaka, Doromadalawa. The woman who had exchanged infants with Chitra carried Prince Pandukabaya to the village in a covered basket. Unfortunately, she ran into 10 of Chitra's brothers, the ones who had wanted their sister to be murdered for fear that her child would kill them. They asked her what she had in the basket and she replied that it contained food. Not satisfied with the answer, they asked her to open up the basket and show them its contents. Luckily, 2 wild boars happened to run past them, and they forgot about the basket in their eagerness to hunt the animals down. The baby was delivered to the herdsman safely. The 2 wild boars were commanders of Yaka tribe named Chithraraja and Kalawela in disguise to protect the prince. That same year, King Pandavasudeva died and Ubya became his successor. He was not a great king, but he was certainly a kind one and he was well loved, especially by the poor. Several years went by and when Pandukabaya was about 7 years old, rumors reached his 10 uncles about a boy in Dvaramandalaka who supposedly was a herdsman's son, but who showed all signs of being of royal background. They suspected that this child may be their sister's son, because they had reason to believe that the little girl who was being brought up as a princess in the palace was not Chitra's daughter. They sent out soldiers to kill all boys in the village who were around the same age as their nephew. It was known that all the boys of Dvaramandalaka bathed at a certain pond, and it was planned that they should be killed while they were bathing. The boys who were there all took their clothes off, but Pandukabaya did not, and he found a hollow tree and went inside, and while he was inside the plan was executed and several young children were murdered. The men counted the sets of clothes and counted the dead bodies, and since it was the same amount they thought they had killed Pandukabaya, however, had been hiding at the time, and so he escaped death. While Pandukabaya's uncles were satisfied at the time that they had eliminated their nephew, some years later they became suspicious again when they heard stories of a village boy who looked more like a prince than a herdsman's son. They attempted to have him killed again, and the attempt failed once more. When Pandukabaya was about 16 years old, Princess Chitra, fearing for her son's safety, arranged to have him live with a Brahmin named Panjala. Once he was old enough to become king, Pandukabaya left Panjala, married his cousin Pali and fought his uncles to claim his right to the throne. 8 of his 10 uncles perished in the war, which lasted for 17 years. Ubya, who had never fought against Pandukabaya, and Jurikandasaiva, who was Pali's father, were not killed. Pandukabaya reigned over Sri Lanka for 70 years, leaving the country in a prosperous state when he died.